Hello, and welcome back to the 7 Days, the World Ends Review podcast. I'm your host, Ari Watkin, but you can call me Eric.
And I'm your co-host, Joshua.
And today we are discussing episode 6?
Yes, episode 6.
Okay. This is episode 5, by the way, because we did episodes 4, 3 and 4 as a double feature.
Yes. So how about we get started?
Yeah. Get into it.
So we pick up this episode from the cliffhanger of last episode with basically Joshua's reveal of killing Neku. And he kind of goes on like this bit of a speech of like, how do I put it? Like he brings it up like as like it's all part of his like plan, I think, and it's brought up later throughout this episode too, though we aren't exactly sure what it is. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, like it's not like an exact plan, but it's like vague.
Yeah, so this was not how it goes in the game. The half of that conversation they had happens in episode or in day 5, and then the other half of the conversation just didn't happen. Well, actually, no, that's not true. Both of them happened. One of them just happened slightly differently than how they showed it. In the game, it's literally just like the revelation of, oh crap, Josh is the killer. I'm putting it to my killer. And then it cuts to day 5, and Neku actually doesn't confront him on day 4. So like that whole violent exchange of like shaking Josh and knocking the phone out, that didn't happen.
And breaking the phone.
Yeah.
Which is actually a nice little detail that they have throughout this episode.
I did not pick up on that at all until you pointed out to me.
Yeah, I noticed it the first time. Like I noticed it, but I didn't notice when it got fixed until like we saw it the second time.
Yeah. Little behind the scenes action. We always watch the episodes twice.
Yep, for that extra analysis detail.
Yep. And we have notes. We are professionals.
I mean, if you can call an outline a note, sure. And so basically after that, it moves on to day 5. And
no, there was another reveal that happened right at the end.
Oh, right. The
Taboo refinery.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that a bit later. So.
Oh, you were?
Yeah. I just like because it's shown, but we don't really get much into it till like the end of the episode. So I wasn't going to like really bring it up till then.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah. So we get into day 5, and I forget what it was. They were going to explore the sewer systems, but there was a wall.
That's at the very end of the episode, dude.
That's at the very end? I am like, even though I've watched this 2 times, I am blanking on the middle part.
We just watched it.
I know. That middle part to me was just so not memorable at all.
Wait, does that mean that I get to guide this episode?
For a little bit, yes.
Yes. Okay. So the middle part.
I know we get to Beat's orders somewhere, but I just.
Yeah. So
my notes from there to like that part is just kind of missing.
Yeah. So so that's not too far into it, but pretty much we have Neku monologuing to himself, like, I don't know if I can trust this kid. He's sketch. But I have to survive 2 more days. And Josh is on the phone with Hanakoma saying, hey, you gave me a bad tracker. We need to come by and fix the tracker.
Yeah, I remember that. I just forget how they got there. They ran into Taboo noise somewhere along the way. I just don't remember why. Oh, regular noise, yeah.
Yeah. So in the game, it actually worked differently. So when Korea and Yuzuki see the refinery sigil being made, which we'll talk about that later, of course, but when they see that, Korea also takes notice of Josh then, and it's like, hey, Yuzuki, uh, you can deal with the Taboo refinery. I'm gonna keep an eye on this Joshua kid, because he seems interesting to me. And Korea sets up walls between Scramble Crossing and Cat Street, and watches Josh and Eku clear all the walls to get to Cat Street.
So that's why there were the walls.
Yeah, so Korea's testing them the entire time.
Yeah, I'm like, I knew that he was like watching over them practically like this entire episode. Just they never like state why.
Yeah, in the game, like it's very explicit. Like Korea's like Joshua sketch. I'm gonna keep an eye on Joshua because I think he's a weirdo.
Yeah, that definitely like did not come off. Like we get that little thing like a bit later on, but like, and I'll talk about it a bit later on. But just yeah, I did not pick that up when I was watching it, and that's probably why I did not remember it that well.
Yeah, and here it's like they were just going to Cat Street and they get jumped by a bunch of powerful but regular noise. These weren't taboo that jumped them.
Yeah, there was that thing where Beat comes in at one point.
Yeah, so that happens on the way back from Cat Street. That doesn't happen on the way there in the game.
Yeah, it happens on the way there though in the anime. And so it does have something interesting that Beat's orders are from Kitaniji.
Which is Shades.
Yeah. And so I'm wondering what exactly what those orders entail.
Yeah. Um what else was I gonna say? It was interesting because this interaction is a mix of the actual interaction on day 5 and the interaction on, I'm gonna mix up the days. I'm pretty sure it was this interaction on day 4. So like in this, Beat drops his pendant, uh, but that happened on day 4 that he dropped the pendant.
Hmm.
Um, and day 5 was kind of the follow up on him dropping the pendant, and so we haven't seen that yet. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, it'll probably be incorporated into whatever they want for Beat's plot.
Yeah. Oh, also,
were you going to mention the day pacing for this episode?
Oh yeah, this episode hit the brakes in a good way, because I thought the show's been going way too fast, and so this whole episode was day 5,
which made it a lot easier that we don't have to be like, and then this day happened.
Yeah, I know. Man, I think I said last episode, but I think this episode might be my new favorite now. I think this actually show is getting better as it's going along.
Yeah, definitely better than some other shows that we're watching this season.
Yeah.
Cough, cough, Kramer, cough, cough.
Yeah, Kramer. But
definitely going to be talking about that in the future.
Oh yeah, we are. What was it? Korea steals Beat in a kind of a comedic way.
Yeah.
In the game. Oh, yep.
No, go ahead. I'll mention my comment afterwards. But there is something funny I like about the way that he talks back to them.
Yeah. So in the game, like Beat tells him he's on a special mission and that they should just leave, and then they do leave. And Beat beats the crap out of Neku, and then we see a scene that we haven't seen yet. In this case, it was the dropping of the pendant. But yeah, Beat was left alone. He was allowed to fight Neku and Shiki after he told him the mission.
Yeah, and instead he gets kind of dragged off in this, right?
Yeah, he just gets picked up and dragged away by Akuya and Yuzuki.
I just no, like I assume that this was probably just like a translation thing that they did in the original, but I just like the way that he calls out what is it? What's the purple haired Reaper's name?
Yuzuki.
I just like how he calls her out as like like by just emphasizing like each syllable of like senpai.
I noticed that too. I was like, I don't know Japanese enough to know what that word even is or how you say
Senpai just
that.
means like a it's like a seniority
Okay,
thing.
so he
So
was saying
like
senpai.
yeah.
Okay, so I thought he was saying senpai, but I also thought that this entire time they've been saying Shin Megami, like Shin Megami Tensei, and I'm like, well, that means true goddess rebirth or the true revelations of
No,
the
it's
goddess.
Shinigami, which means it can mean technically death god, but it's more often just like referred to as like a grim reaper or a reaper of sorts.
Yeah, so like that's why like I thought he said senpai, but I'm like I also thought it was Shin Megami, and it wasn't Shin Megami, it was Shinigami. So I was like, okay,
Yeah, I would know that it's pronounced Shinigami because of Bleach, because that's like
yeah,
what the main good force is called in that show. So
yeah. Me, I'm a video game guy mainly, RPG guy, and so like Persona, Shin Megami, yeah, I like this, but
yeah,
like
I've spent a lot of time in anime, so I've picked up a lot of things.
yeah, but I'm clueless. I'm learning things as I go, apparently.
But anyways, so after that, it's they finally meet up with Hanekoma,
Yeah.
and
So
that's where Joshua gets his phone repaired, kind of off screen, while we get a main focus on Now
Sota and
and
now
Toya or
Sota. Yeah.
Sota and Now, and their chat with Neku about what he brought up in the previous day about Shiki being like his entry fee.
Yeah, so that conversation was part of day 4 that all happened at once. And also how this win in the game was Josh and Neku had a conversation about why Josh liked the game. They already showed this whole conversation though. The first time we go to Hanekoma's, uh, they gave Josh this conversation that was originally held by Hanekoma. It's
Mm-hmm.
confusing. I'm explaining it
Yeah,
really poorly.
I mean, it's just the way that they split up the dialogue is
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
Basically, is
So
what you're saying.
yeah, so like it was Honeycomb that tells Neku that Josh could see dead people, and then this is Josh in his own words talking about seeing dead people and why he was interested. But
Mm-hmm.
they instead on day 3 they just have Josh say it himself anyways and not have Honeycomb explain it.
Yeah,
And so instead of rehashing that conversation that they already showed, they moved Sota and Now's conversation to this day.
yeah. Which, I mean, in a way, I think makes it a bit more cohesive for like an anime format.
Oh, I liked it. Um, I because it was very similar to the conversation that they have normally on day 4 in the game, but I thought they kind of even made it a little more personal. Um, and it was just really like Neku is really struggling at this point. He's struggling more on day 5 than he was struggling on day 4.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and so to
No,
get that
like
help,
definitely, I think like at least so far, this has been like Neku's biggest day of like struggle.
oh yeah, um, day 5's a rough day for Neku. Um,
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna get any better or not, but we'll have to see by next episode.
yeah,
Or worse. That could always be the case too.
let's be real. It's gonna
I
get
mean, I
worse.
don't think you'll ever reach ReZero Arc 3 levels of it, but well,
You know that
actually
goes
Arc
over my
4
head.
was ReZero Arc 4 was pretty traumatizing in a different way.
That all went over my head, but okay, let's move on.
Yeah, and so after that, Joshua rejoins Neku and they
Wait,
start
actually, one more thing that I want to bring up now. Well, maybe we want
what?
to hold. During that conversation, we didn't notice it the first time, but we noticed it the second time. They have a random cut to a screen showing like what looks like a concert with like red lighting.
Yeah, and we'll see it again after
Yeah,
Joshua and Neku's conversation that's coming up as well.
yeah. So we see that twice. We noticed it the second time, the second time it showed up in the episode, the first time we watched it, and then we noticed it retroactively previously
In
in
the now in Sota
conversation. Yeah.
conversation. Yeah.
Um, this is another midnight edition, so if I'm not making sense, hi. Comment below and tell me that I'm an idiot because you're correct.
Yeah, and so we get I forget, like I believe Joshua is like basically reinstating like the quotes, like talking about like what Hanekoma had brought up on the previous day to Joshua, not
Yeah.
Joshua, Neku.
Neku. Yeah.
And basically talking about like how he's like walling himself off from other people, just like how Shibuya is walled off.
Yeah, that was a day 4 conversation right before um, the scanning happened.
Hmm.
So they moved that day 4 conversation here. And the one thing that I really have to mention about that was they actually name a couple of the underground. So they name Shibuya Underground and they name Shinjuku Underground.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. I was like, I don't. What was that something that they did in the original, or was the multiple undergrounds like
So
something new? Because like that's something that Neo is doing.
So Joshua in day 4 does mention that there are multiple underground. Shibuya is not the only one, but he never names any underground besides Shibuya. There's no in the original game. There is no mention of any actual underground besides Shibuya. There's just a reference to there's multiple.
Hmm.
It wasn't until New Day that we got the mention of Shinjuku. So here we are again. Another thing that could be leading this to be put in the Neo universe.
Yeah, like especially because we see in the trailers that there are like the Shinjuku ones, like the
Oh yeah,
Shinjuku Reapers.
yeah. There's more Shinjuku Reapers than there were Shibuya Reapers.
Yeah, like there are only like what was there like 3 from Shibuya?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was only like 3 from that trailer.
Well, and Coco herself is a weird character. Um, this goes. She's not in the original game at all, and in the iPhone game, she was only a person you talk to for microtransactions. So Coco was not a real character until the Switch port.
Yeah, I I believe you mentioned that to me before.
Yeah. So like Coco and she's like a New Day thing, and we don't fully understand what she is because New Day ends on a cliffhanger and doesn't explain everything fully. She could be a Shinjuku Reaper as well, actually. We don't know what Coco is.
Well, since they classify her as a Shibuya one, I believe she's a Shibuya one. But
Oh, do they actually specifically state she's Shibuya?
yeah, she's there with
Yuzuki and Korea.
is Yuzuki there? I know that Korea was there, or
Yeah,
I
she has a
forget.
new design. She has a business suit.
Okay.
Which something that I want to talk about eventually, hopefully before Neo actually comes out. But she's mentioned that she wants a promotion in the show, right?
Yeah, she's mentioned that a few
Yeah.
times.
So it's looking like she's going to get that promotion in Neo.
Yeah. No, we'll definitely have to talk about this like once this show wraps up, and we can maybe do like one on the secret reports and then covering the trailer in depth as well before the game comes out.
Yeah. Do that.
And then there was one more thing before they do the band cutaway thing, and that's the revealing of Cat.
I thought this was funny.
Yeah, I actually really found it funny too, just because I love Neku just fanboying over Cat.
Yeah, so he does have that initial reaction. So they made him kind of dumb because it literally took Joshua just saying like Cat is Mr. H. And Neku immediately got it. In this case, it took Neku like 3 times of hearing it for it to click.
No,
And
I think it wasn't really more of like he didn't realize it, but he was more of like he was just more of like, oh shoot, I said all that stuff to him yesterday. You're saying that this is actually him, right?
No, there was when he was first hearing it, he was like, "Huh? Like, what are you talking about?" And then, like, Neku
No,
caught
no,
on very quickly in the game.
it's not that he doesn't catch on quickly here either. It's just more of like they exaggerate it for comedic purposes of like because we know what Neku said to Hanekoma from the previous
Yeah,
episode. So
yeah. It's just funny because in the game, like, he has that initial freak out of like, "Oh wait, holy crap! Whoa, calm down." And then, like, as soon as he has that, it's he just goes back to like, actually, that makes sense. I thought Mr. H was a cool guy from the first time I met him, so I could totally see that being the case. And here he has a total freak out, like screaming that he's an idiot.
well, yeah, because I mean, I think that's kind of a normal reaction when you're like trying to like say like preach about your favorite creator's words to your favorite creator when their interpretation may be entirely different.
Which in this case, I think we can assume is the case.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. It's kind of funny though. Uh, I was gonna say something
Definitely
else,
gave
and
me
I'm
a good laugh
blanking.
when we first saw it.
Yeah. I was gonna say something else, and I can't think of what I was gonna say. Crap. I'll come back to it if it pops up. But
I mean, was it anything related to that other than like Joshua saying keep it a secret to Neku?
oh yeah, so yeah, that happens in the game, and Neck is like, "Sure, I'll keep it a secret." But then Neku again, we see a lot of what goes on inside of his head, and earlier on in the game, and I believe they do bring it up in the anime, Neku has the worry that Cat is the composer.
Yeah,
Um, and this just gets that idea out of his head where he's like, there's no way that Cat's the composer because Joshua would have been able to figure that out. And there's
yeah.
no
I'm like
way the composer would
this.
help Josh.
Yeah, I'm like this. Pretty much dispels the theory that Cat was the composer.
Yeah. Um, and so it's just very, they kind of got rid of that conversation. Um,
Mm-hmm.
well, it's not even a conversation, it's just his inner monologue of like, oh, I can probably trust Josh more now, and I can.
Yeah, they don't really bring that up, at least not in this episode. I don't know if they will in the next episode or not, considering it's literally named Joshua, but we'll see.
Yeah. My guess is we're going to go back to a 2 day structure next episode.
I think it's going to be 1 day structure until episode 8.
Maybe.
Because, like, I think, because, like, yeah, because I think they probably want to end, like, the second week around episode 8. I don't
Maybe.
know what they're going to do after that, but I definitely feel like that's when they're going to try and end it around.
Well, if our theory that this is going to be the Neo universe, they could try to adapt New Day.
Yeah, they probably will try to adapt New Day. I don't know if
Yeah.
they'll try and fit in the secret reports retroactively into New Day as well, but
That would not fit.
yeah, I don't know. Like I said,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't know if it's possible or not, but it just like
Yeah.
thinking about it just from an anime structure wise, if you want to try and fit the most content from the anime, what from the game into the anime.
Yeah. Personally, I would love to see the secret reports adapted because the secret reports are so interesting. Um, but I have a gut feeling that they're just going to adapt New Day.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Um, which I mean, I guess
Um,
that's cool. Maybe they can fix New Day.
yeah, I don't
Maybe.
know. I don't know what they're gonna do. So
Yeah.
our guesses are just that until it happens. So
Yep.
we'll definitely have to see. Let's see. And so next, basically, we get. Is this finally where we get to the sewers and then the taboo noise fight?
I believe so because my notes cut directly to short but good combat.
Yeah, well, I think it helps that this combat was the only I think combat that was 2D animated.
Yeah. It was short, but it was really well animated for once.
Yeah, because they wanted to showcase Joshua's powers
Yeah. Um.
as
Well, so I guess we should talk about right before the fight, though. Um. So I'm trying to think how it happened. They reveal Cat, and then I think pretty much immediately after they reveal Cat, Josh says, "Hey, I got a spike," and they go to.
yeah. Then they go to the sewer where Joshua says that there's a wall that he'll have to look into how to remove.
Oh no! Okay, we actually are missing a conversation. Uh, there was a conversation of Neku continuing to help Josh.
Was there?
Yeah, there was.
Hmm.
So this also goes back to what I was talking about in day 4. Part of day 4 was Josh saying that his goal is to properly guide,
Properly.
properly guide Shibuya. Um, in the game, it's a little more comedic. He just says he wants to jack Shibuya. Um, yeah, that conversation happens on day 5. Um, Neku asks Josh what he's looking for, and Josh says, "Well, like, yo, you remember that composer guy?" And he's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Well, currently he has a Shibuya jack. I want to be the one to jack it." Um,
Yeah, I feel like that was mentioned a bit more like later, like after the whole power thing and the fight.
nope, that was before the river.
Really? Because it's mentioned a whole bunch, like after Joshua's powers is revealed,
No,
and
it's
I don't
not
know, maybe
actually.
it's just because like no, it is because like they talk about like because the the Reaper that's been following them all episode brings up that um Joshua is alive while
Yeah,
playing
I'm
the
not talking.
game.
No, so you're talking about something else though. I'm talking about the wanting to probably why am I properly guide Shibuya and jacking the composer. That's when Neku is like, I will help you find the composer, but I'm not going any further because I can't get into trouble.
Oh yeah. Okay, never mind. Yeah, now you reminded me. Yep.
Yeah. Neku has that whole conversation of like, I'll help you find whatever you're looking for, but don't drag me into it anymore. I have to win this week.
Mm-hmm.
Then we find the wall, and Neku says, "Don't go any further. We've checked it out. You're done."
Well, I don't
And
think
then
it's more of Joshua says that they can't go any further anyways because there's a wall that even Neku didn't see.
yes, but Neku did try to stop him before Josh says that.
Mm.
But you're right. Josh does notice a wall and leaves the wall.
Which I do think you can actually faintly see it.
Yes, they do show it. In the game, they just kind of like, yeah, there's a wall there. Like they don't make like, yeah, it's a special wall, but there's a wall there, and everyone can see it.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know why they shrouded it in mystery here, but
Yeah, in the game, they're just like, yeah, that's a wall. It's like, okay.
yeah. So, anyways, we get Joshua beaming like beams of light that destroy all those taboo noise.
Yep.
Um, and so then we get the whole talk of basically just Kamiya being like, you're actually a live person playing the game and you should not be doing that. But I'm gonna let you off the hook because you took out those taboo noise, which are being quite a pain right now as well. So
Which is like one for one from the game.
yeah.
Um,
Just like how he then just throws two lollipops at them.
I was actually gonna pick that up. I love that because that's not in the game because
Well, yeah, I mean, because they only use like sprites basically
yeah
for
the game just uses
conversations.
sprites. Yeah, so I was like, that's actually really funny. I like that personality they gave him.
Like, I don't know, like he's definitely like just I don't know what it is, like whether it be the voice actor or whatnot, but he's just like one of my favorite characters from this anime so far.
Oh, he's so fun. I don't know if he necessarily would be my favorite character from the game, but he's just a fun character to watch.
Yeah,
Um,
like just more in that sense. Like I find him just very entertaining.
yeah, I like him a lot. Him and Yuzuki in the game have such a great like duo because Yuzuki is working really hard and she wants this promotion, and the entire time Kriya's like, just slow down. Like work is frustrating,
Yeah,
and so like she's constantly like upset with him because he doesn't want to work hard, but like actually he's kind of a G. he's he's kind of good.
yeah. I mean, he's kind of a bit like lax on the rules in a way.
Yeah. Um. What was I gonna say? Again, I'm just blanking. But yeah, so we get the reveal. What'd you think of the Josh reveal?
I mean, I don't fully know what it entails yet, but I'm curious to see where it goes.
Yeah, so there's that. I always forget who it is. We have that one YouTuber who has the Council of Voices. I can't remember his name.
Nico B.
Nico B. Yeah. What does he call Josh?
Um, what was it? I forget what it was. I believe it's like douchebag Jesus, something like
Yeah,
that.
I think it was something like that, like Prissy Jesus or something like that. Um,
Yeah.
this is why. Uh, so this actually changes in the DS, actually in both games, but technically the DS game more. Um, how Josh fights. Uh, so like Shiki, like halfway through the week, gets uh like a down dodge essentially. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Josh is if you just use the analog sticks, he'll just use his normal dropping vending machines or whatever attack. If
Uh-huh.
you hit up on the D-pad and then use the sides, he will levitate and like have his arms out like in a cross and send like angel blasts down. Um, and in the game, they just show, or in the remakes, I mean, like in the iPhone and Switch game, because they got rid of the whole second screen and just made it touch inputs. It permanently makes Josh just angel blast,
Hmm.
but like it increases his power dramatically. It's fun.
Yeah. So I just looked this up just to see what else the voice actor for Korea had done. Or Karia? I don't know. Koki. I'm just gonna call him by his last name. That's easier. He also voiced Girahim from Skyward Sword.
Okay, that's pretty good. Off
But yeah,
topic, but did you hear the controversy of Skyward Sword?
the $25 amiibo.
Yeah,
I mean, I kind of understand. It's like two figures in one, but I will agree it is kind of a scummy monetization.
yeah. Well, it's more about the functionality of the amiibo.
What does it even do? I
It
didn't even care.
it teleports you from anywhere in the world, including inside dungeons, to the sky world, and then can teleport you directly back from the sky world into the place you left from.
That's kind of broken.
Yeah. So like if you're in the middle of a dungeon and you run out of potions, you can go to the sky world, grab potion, and go back to
Yeah,
the exact spot
that's
you were.
like really broken.
Yeah. Uh
Also, I still like
off
I don't know
topic.
why. Yeah. Also, I don't know why they didn't make the Skyward Sword Blink amiibo compatible with it.
Yeah, it's the
Like,
only compatible amiibo.
yeah, I don't know. That was a weird
They
choice. It was a weird choice all around.
yeah, they could have made like the Skyward Sword one just like, oh yeah, it repairs your shields. Like you only
Or
need to want to
something, just like
yeah,
something simple.
yeah. I don't know. I don't get it. Anyways, off
Yeah, I don't know.
topic.
Off topic. Anyways, so then we getting back into Joshua's identity and whatnot of being a live person. Neku kind of gets mad at that because basically he isn't risking anything like the rest of the players are. And then Joshua kind of goes off being like, "But Neku, I chose you for a reason. You um
This is U.S.
I forget
Animation too.
what that, but also I forget when it was. Oh, it was like I've always been watching you, like, and he brings up like how he saw like Neku
Neku almost
nearly
kills
kill
Shiki.
Shiki. Yeah.
Um, that wasn't in the game. Like Josh brings up like day one or day two, that, like he's been watching Neku. Like that's it. He's like, oh yeah, I've been watching you, and you don't know what that means until like day three when Hanekoma tells Neku that Josh can see the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's as most as ever brought up. Is like, oh yeah, I've been watching you, and you seem experienced at this. Um, so that whole thing was new. So it's like, oh, he's actually been intently watching Neku.
Yeah.
That's new context.
Yeah.
um, and then what was the other thing about that? Oh yeah. So Neku brings up that Josh is the killer now. In the game, this was the first time Neku's brought up Josh being the killer to Josh directly. Every
Mm-hmm.
other time, it's only been internal. Um, and so it's interesting because they kind of put together like the very beginning of day six into this conversation
Mm.
with the with because like it kind of just ends with like Josh saying like, okay, and so what if I was? What would you do? And this one kind of pushes it just that little bit further than that.
Yeah, and I assume it's probably just for setup for like next episode.
Yeah, probably. But yeah. Well, what is Neku going to do?
I don't know. And what is Josh's reasons for choosing Neku?
Make your predictions.
I mean, I would, but I don't want to just
You don't want to be
go
wrong.
off. Well, not that. Just more of I don't want to go on like some crazy theory that probably is going to end up wrong.
I want to hear it. I want to know what you're thinking.
Well, I'm just thinking that basically Joshua is basically having it be so that Neku will change in order to basically override the system to give Joshua that control. Basically, setting up Neku to be influenced to go fight the composer.
Okay. Okay.
But
Not
yeah.
bad. Not bad theory.
Anyways, into the final topic of this episode.
Yeah.
Taboo noise refineries.
So this conversation didn't really happen, at least not this in depth. It kind of already happened actually. It's hard to explain. Konishi was not that like they took it seriously and they pretty much already knew day four, like, yep, it is Mr. Minimoto. We need to act on this. Um so the fact that it's now like end of day five and still they're not taking this seriously, it's like, oh, what are they
Well, it's
doing?
not that they aren't taking it seriously, they just aren't willing to pin the blame on Minami Moto quite yet.
Yeah.
Like, they're still skeptical about something. I'm not
Yeah.
sure what. They know the threat is serious because of how many like people it's killed and whatnot, and they definitely are trying to take actions towards it. But it's just they aren't exactly sure of the true culprit behind it. It seems.
Yeah. Um so do you think anything that we've been told is what it seems?
I don't know. It's so hard because you know it's like I definitely want to read into Minamimoto just being like the real like thing behind all of this and whatnot, but just that feels too easy of an answer for a JRPG.
I mean, this is Tetsuya Nomura we're talking about. You've played Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, but also it's a JRPG. The answer is never that simple either.
Yeah. Um, I just realized Square Enix really gets the weirdos. They get Tetsuya Nomura and Yoko Taro.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, yeah.
Love both of them, but like,
It's either that or Capcom, but Capcom has basically lost all of their people like that.
did Capcom really do RPGs?
No, just more of like people who were kind of zany like that, like
Oh,
Kamiya.
yeah. Okay, yeah, that's fair. I was just thinking more of like not just zany, but specifically JRPG zany, just over the top
Hmm.
weirdness. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I don't think anyone can top like Square Enix on that.
yeah, because like Kamiya himself is very trolly, but his games aren't really that. I guess Bayonetta kind of is, but not to the same extent as like Yoko Toru.
Yeah, well, it's more of like they're a bit more like classy, tongue in cheek, like Bayonetta and Devil May Cry.
Yeah. Um, Yoko Toro gives you an ending for eating fish.
Yeah, don't underestimate that man. He will create
Uh,
an ending out of anything.
yeah. I speaking of which, I'm
Not that
80
it's a bad
hours.
thing. I just find it funny.
Yeah, I'm 80 hours into Replicant and still haven't gotten ending B.
Wow.
That said, before anyone gives me crap like, "Oh, come on, you could beat the game faster than that," I have almost all weapons fully upgraded. It's a pain in
Wow.
the butt. I hate upgrading the weapons in this game.
Yeah, that does sound like
Yeah, I have
a
like
task and a half.
yeah, there's like 33 weapons. I have 34 because of the DLC. Oh no, I have 37 because of the DLC. I have like 6 left to do.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so before I get crap for like taking my time, I don't know what the third playthrough looks like, and I want to make sure I have all my weapons fully upgraded for whatever the third playthrough is.
Yeah.
So
But anyways, I think that's about it for our discussion on episode 6 of
uh,
The World Ends With You, the animation,
actually,
right?
one more thing: when Yuzuki was talking to Konishi, she was talking about, this was the first time I've been attacked by a noise since became a Reaper.
Mm-hmm.
We've never heard this before in the game. So I'm like,
That was I mean, we saw it in like what was it, day 2?
yes, but specifically the idea of first time being attacked by noise since being a Reaper, where it's like, wait a second, that means you've been attacked by noise before, which means you were a player before.
I mean, I assume that's like not too hard to believe because I mean, most Reapers like end up like from completing the game, at least from my understanding.
No, we the only Reaper we know how they became a Reaper was Beat, and we had no reason to assume that they were all players at one point. There was zero reason to assume they were all players at some point. So it's like,
Really,
what?
I thought it was kind of a pretty common conclusion, at least from the way that the anime portrayed it.
No, it, none of them talked about being players. They all seem like they've had a lot. Like Yuzuki mentions that like she's been in here for like 2 years. Like she's been a Reaper for 2 years, so she's no longer a spring chicken. Because Korea makes a joke that she's a spring chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like they talk about like as if it's like a normal job, and so it's like you think having been a player and then becoming a Reaper, they would have more empathy and maybe like a little bit less of um less edge. Like I don't know if edge is the right word. Like they just treat it like it's a normal like job. They don't. You think they'd have some like trauma to it? Instead, like no. Apparently, there's something to it. Like they, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's set up for something.
Yeah, maybe. I'm just like looking at that. I'm like, I don't know what to feel about that because this is the first time we've ever gotten anything to like a backstory to a Reaper.
Hmm.
Um,
Interesting. I did not know that that was something that was never included before.
yeah, like I never even thought about. Like it never occurred to me. But I'm just like, I don't know how these Reapers got here, but like they're here. It's like, oh, they have backstories.
Well, I mean, you have to assume that they're human as well, you know?
But the thing is, we see them go between human and Reaper. Like they can enter the orgy and leave the orgy at will.
Mm-hmm.
And within the orgy, they don't have black wings, and within the UG, they have the black wings. And so it's like, okay, I just figured there's some type of in between. Like even the secret reports kind of goes a little bit into like how Reapers work. And so I was just like, oh, the weird things, but they're not necessarily human, but they're not human either. But like, I don't
I
know.
don't
I
know.
don't know.
Maybe they're retroactively kind of rewriting Reapers.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if Neo goes more into detail about this, since we know Yuzuki's coming back.
Yeah.
Yuzuki being a player though, like I beyond me, beats me.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, hopefully we get
Anyways,
more.
yeah, I think that's about it. So
You
thank
want
you
to talk
for
about
watching.
episode? Oh,
Yeah, we'll talk about episode 7 next week. Thank you for watching. Feel free to check out previous episodes if you have not checked out any of the other episodes on this channel, and feel free to comment on any feedback. Thank you for watching.
bye.